Hi, I'm Vanessa Vicaria, aka The Math Guru, and you're listening to Math Therapy, a podcast that helps guests work through their math traumas one problem at a time. When I was in grade 11, I failed math not once, but twice, because I was told that I just wasn't a math person. Thanks to a math intervention in the form of an amazing teacher, I ended up scoring 99% in grade 12 math, and now I run The Math Guru, my very own math tutoring studio in Toronto. I started Math Therapy to take this conversation global, and I like to think of it as not just a podcast, but a movement. Whether you think you're a math person or not, you're about to find out that math people don't actually exist, but the scars that math class left on many of us definitely do. Oh, and don't worry, no calculators or actual math were involved in the making of this podcast. Guys, okay, hi, welcome back. Great to be here. I just want you to all know that I'm already laughing just thinking about how fucking hysterical this episode is. And I don't want to hype it up too much, but Miguel might legit be the funniest person I know. So from a sordid past of failing grade 12 math twice and flipping burgers to a soaring future and present of analyzing stats and spreadsheets for the government, Miguel's math journey is a wild one. I cannot wait for you to hear all about how this math-anxious motor mouth turned his fear of failure into his greatest motivator. Get ready to laugh, cry, and well, that's it. Laugh and cry. That's what we're going to be doing here, but mostly laughing. Oh, and also, please note that this was pre-COVID, so excuse my ignorance. You'll know what I mean. Here he is, friends, Miguel Escobar. Miguel!
Hi.
Hello, hi, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
I honestly just kind of want to start this with you giving us a little synopsis of your relationship with math.
Okay.
We're recording this on Valentine's Day, so it kind of makes sense that we're talking about relationships. Right? Oh my God!
It's been a tragic relationship with math.
Okay,
up to now, though.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so we'll get there.
Okay.
So when I was younger, math was never my strong suit, right? I was good in, biology, science, all those things. My sister was the mathematician. I was just sort of there. I did good in everything else, but math was never a focus for me. I never really wanted to be good at it. I had to do it, right?
Right.
So I went through school, fine, didn't do terribly. I went through high school, had to take the math, kind of coasted along, 70s, 60s, 70s, not a big deal. Get to grade 12, have to take calculus, right?
So why do you have to take it? Or you just took it?
Well, back then, I was told that in order for me to get into university, you needed OAC English, OAC Calculus, and then a science.
Okay, well,
and you had to have all three.
Oh my God.
So I never wanted to take calculus, but I had to take it. So I go into this calculus class, and I've got this teacher. I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to give him that validation. Oh. But he was a terrible person. And I failed my first time doing calculus, absolutely failed. I don't even think I got more than 3. Literally just wasn't present for any of it. And then I had to take it again because in my head, I'm if I don't get a calculus, I'm not going to get into university. And that's the end of that. So go into another round of calculus with the exact same horrifying teacher.
Oh my God.
And basically couldn't figure out any of it because he would speed through the classes. So you have this textbook, it's open in front of you, and he's okay, let's read it all together.
Let's read the book?
It's story time. And then he's okay, great, figure it out now. So A plus B equals C. I'm not going to tell you why, but you need to know that, memorize it, go, here's a test with 6,000 questions that you're never going to get the answers to. So I would sit there and I would just be looking around at everyone why does everyone else seem to be getting this? And it's literally just me huh? He was speaking Klingon. It didn't make sense to me at all. So eventually I was getting 9 in the class. And then my mom comes and my mom's why are you failing? And I'm I can't figure this out. It doesn't make sense in my head. So then the teacher comes to the house.
What?
Right? So he gets invited to the house.
Is that even legal?
I have no clue. One day, I didn't even know he was coming. Doorbell rings. There he is at the door. And I'm how did you find me? Why am I dreaming? This is a nightmare. Sits down with my parents, basically tells them, your son's not good in math. He's not going to do well. He doesn't try hard enough. So the best for him is to get a 50. I'll pass him, and then he can try and get into university.
This sounds like it's literally 1932.
Yeah.
When does this happen? A
Literally.
teacher shows up. Was he wearing a trench coat? Was he smoking a cigar?
No, but he had trouble matching. So his suit pants didn't match his jacket.
Right.
And that's what I was most concerned about.
Right.
Who let him out of the house like that. But I get math, right?
Okay.
So basically my mom was you have to try harder. But then she said to him, well, what are you doing to try and make it easier for him? How are you helping him? And he literally was you know what? It's up to the students to do as well as they think they can. And they can reach out. It's not up to me. I just teach the curriculum. That's it.
Okay, I mean, not...
And that's
sure.
a valid point.
Yeah.
But every time I would ask him a question, like in class, he would, at the end of a lesson, he'd be like, does anybody have any questions? And if the smart kids had a question, he'd be like, yep, I'll answer all of them. For the rest of us who had no clue, you could put both your arms up, your foot, like your left rib cage, and he'd be like, no, nobody, that's it. And then would move on. And I would just be like, I have no clue what you just said. You know, like in Charlie Brown, and the teacher's like, rah, 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 like that's literally how it sounded in my head the whole time. I would stare at the textbook, nothing would make sense, the numbers would move on the page, and I'd be like, forget it, I'm just gonna fail. Then, towards the end of it, I'm just barely getting like 50. And he's like, you really need to get this. You really need to try harder because at the end of the day, you're just going to flip burgers in the future. You're not going to have a career.
Oh my God, he said you're going to...
Yeah. He's like, you're going to end up flipping burgers. You're not going to have a career. He goes, so you really need to just either figure this out or just realize that you're not going to really go far. He's like, so it's up to you. You have to make a decision. How did you feel? Literally at that moment in time. Now, keep in mind, you're in high school, puberty, trying to figure yourself out. Here I am, closeted homosexual.
Oh my God, right? A lot happening.
There were like 3 gay people in my whole school. Right. You're trying to figure out all these things, and then you have this teacher that's literally like, you're going to be a failure anyway, because you can't figure this out. I'm doing well in everything else, but I'm going to fail math, and that's the end of that, right? So I end up getting a 51. So
how did you get the extra 1%?
He gave me extra credit to do because I failed the exam.
Wow. Okay. So he has his like soft spots. This guy very
he said
complex.
He didn't want to see me again.
Okay. Right.
So literally words out of his mouth. He's like, I prefer not to have you back in summer school. He's like, so here's a 51. Here's some extra work to do. I'll give you the extra percentage. Like, get out.
Right.
So I did it, and then tried to go to university. I wanted to be a microbiologist. Right? Okay. I had big aspirations. My sister went biology in school. I was like, I'm going to follow in the footsteps. I wanted to work for the CDC, Center for Disease Control. I was going to cure Ebola or something like that.
Oh my God, Ebola. Remember when that was a thing?
It still kind of is, right?
Is it? Oh, shit. Okay.
You're so pretty. So I get to university. We sit.
Okay, yeah.
We sit down in the first class, right? I have to take math. You do first year math in university. Sit down. It's me and what felt like 600,000 students in this small room that was like the size of a Tim Hortons, right? You sit down in this class. It's like elevated, so I'm all the way up at the top because I don't want anybody to pick me, and I don't want anyone to even know that I'm there,
right?
Because I'm horrified that I'm in a math class.
And it's calculus, isn't it?
It's everything. Like I have no clue because I didn't go past the first class.
You must not know. It's not everything. There's no math class. It's like everything.
Well, I didn't go back.
Okay.
So we did the first one, and then the teacher was like, we're just going to do a quick review. And he started to put things up on the board, and I was just sitting there, and I just, almost in tears, just like, here we go again. I can't figure this out. My math teacher was right. I'm just going to fail.
Can I take the quickest pause?
Yeah.
Just because I want to, just so it's clear in my head.
Oh.
When you were in calculus in high school, go back to high school, was it that it wasn't that you worked so hard and tried so hard and couldn't do it? It was like this teacher was just like fucked and you didn't know what the fuck was going on. You were totally unmotivated, right? It's not like you were spending hours doing homework every night.
Right. So a lot of it had to do with I was trying my best. I just couldn't get the concepts of certain things.
Right.
So I literally just needed someone to sit down with me and break it down to a level sort of beneath where everyone was supposed to be.
Sure.
Right?
Okay, that's all. I just wanted to clarify that one point. Okay,
yeah,
move
absolutely.
On. Back to your balcony seat in your calculus class. Okay.
So I'm on my terrace at my university. I went to Western. And sit down and I'm looking at the stuff on the board and I'm like, absolutely not. Get up within the first 5 minutes, walk out of class. I was just like, I'm not doing this. The textbook was 27,000 pages. I'm like, I don't even want to get through the first page, which is like the introduction, right? Like why they wrote the book. I was like, no, I don't even want to know any of this.
Who reads that?
Me, because I don't want to get to the math part.
Oh my God.
So, but at that point, it was almost like fear, anxiety, all that stuff set in, deep rooted inside of me. And I could not, I didn't go to bio class. I didn't go to psych class. I didn't go to English.
Did you do?
I failed university.
What did you do at all? Did you?
I sat, I drank. I did things I'm not supposed to do.
Right.
But I was away, right?
Yeah.
So
when did you drop out?
I didn't really drop out. The university asked me not to come back. So I got this cute little letter.
This is a theme.
Well, I got this cute little letter from the university being like, thanks so much for your money. Unfortunately, you probably want to go to school. So since you're not really into that, don't come back next year. Reevaluate your life and don't come back. Now, the thing was, I told my mom, I have to drop out. She's like, great, you need to go find a job. I'm not supporting you if you're not going to do anything.
Right.
The only job available was down the street at a restaurant that had opened up near my house. What's the only job that I can do? Flip burgers.
Oh my God, full circle.
So I go and I work. I didn't even think about it until one day I'm standing there, I'm flipping burgers, and I literally stop. My boss is like, "You good?" And I'm like, fuck, he was right. I'm like, here I am, flipping burgers. Not that flipping burgers is bad or by any means. I've worked in the industry a long time. People have wonderful careers out of it. However, when you're told that this is your inevitability, right?
And you're told that as a pejorative. Like, he said that negatively, right?
Yeah,
he wasn't like, you know what, here's what you could do.
Yeah.
You could go flip burgers. He was like, all you'll ever be is a burger flipper.
As if it was something terrible, right? So there I am flipping burgers and being like, fuck, that's it. Like, this is my life now.
Oh my God, I'm getting goosebumps. This is
so disappointed in myself, like completely beating myself up.
How old are you at this point?
Maybe 21.
Okay.
Right? So technically where I'm supposed to be figuring out what I'm going to do with my life, I'm standing there being like, well, this is it. This is as far as I go, because that's what I was told.
And what was the feeling? Do you remember?
Just part of it was like regret, but then part of it was shame in terms of, why didn't I fix something? Why didn't I fix myself? Why didn't I try harder to avoid this destiny sort of that was given to me, right? Like, what could I have done that would have prevented me from just having this as my existence now? Right?
And it's so funny because like 21 is so young. Yeah. Like technically it's like that. Yeah, like I totally understand. Obviously when you are 21, you're like, fuck, like I'm already 21. This is all I'm doing. But it's like that actually not to like give a sneak peek, but like that is the perfect time for like an epiphany and a moment to be like, I actually can change this.
Exactly. So I did that.
Okay, so you're there, you're flipping burgers.
Right, I did that for probably a couple of years.
Yeah.
And then finally just something sort of clicked in me that I was like, I'm kind of like this. I don't like flipping burgers, but I like the restaurant scene. I like hospitality.
Right.
So I was like, you know what, I'm going to give it a shot again. Go to George Brown, do the hospitality management.
You went back to school?
I did.
Okay, good for you.
Did hospitality management. First class I have to take, math.
Okay.
Right? So sit down in this math class, again, just like trembling, terrified, sweats, sitting in this class with all these other kids, just all over again. I'm like, this is it. I'm going to try again. I'm going to fail again.
Right.
And then I'm just going to go back to flipping burgers. I should just accept that as my reality, right? Then I get this really nice teacher who we're going through, and like...
Oh my God, it's always the teacher, right? It always is a fucking teacher. Okay.
So you don't even think that,
I don't know why that makes
math, like you have to include... Math is everywhere. Right? So here I am thinking, well, I'm just going to learn, I'm going to work in a restaurant. You don't need math in a restaurant. Meanwhile, if you want to own a restaurant, you need to figure out your profit margins, you need to figure out all these things. So
ingredients.
Exactly. So there's math, right? Sit down, look at this teacher. The teacher comes over to me, she sees it on my face. Like she literally could see it on my face. And she's like, are you good? And I was like, I am terrified to be here. I'm like, I don't even know, I can't even open this book. And she goes, you know what? When this is over, when the first class is over, come sit with me. And we'll go through this together. Oh my God,
I love her. Do we know her name? Should we say her name?
Who is this one? I could find it.
Oh, we should find her.
I'm going to find it.
Okay.
But she sat down with me. She basically just was like, let's chat, right? And didn't even really go through the math in the very beginning. She was like, why are you so scared? Like, what's the deal?
She was giving you math therapy, like the OG form.
See?
What?
Give her like a little bit of it. And she's like, well, it's new. She goes, this is a new class. It's fine. She goes, it's not calculus.
Right.
So don't worry about it. End up not doing... Okay, here's the thing. So the expectations that were always put on me when I was growing up, not even by my parents, but just in general, was you have to get perfect on everything.
Right.
And this is where even you talk a lot about making mistakes. And it's okay to not get perfect, right? So in my head, I was like, if I don't get 100 in this class, I'm screwed. That's it, right? Ended up getting like an 85. And was...
Oh my God!
Was so disappointed in myself.
What?
And at the end of it...
What are you talking
about?
about?
She's like, what are you doing? She goes, this is really good. And I was like, oh, she goes, didn't you get...
Like you came from a 3%.
Yeah, literally.
To an 85.
Exactly.
And you're still disappointed.
And I was at that point.
Why?
Because I felt like I should have got better. But...
Ew, I hate the word should.
That's the thing, right? But I failed to recognize where I had come from.
Right.
And that was sort of part of the journey, which is fine. So anyways, finished college with honors. Worked in the restaurant industry for another few years. And then all of a sudden, this government job ended up in my lap, right? It just ended up in my lap. I was pushing papers. It wasn't really what I wanted to do, but it just sort of happened. Did that for a few years, and then all of a sudden, I'm now the executive assistant to a director, right? Part of that is stats. So again, I moved away from math, just pushing paper. Now I got to do stats all over again, right? Annual reports. These are like things that go out to the public, to the prime minister, to the premier, all this stuff, and all these.
Wait,
numbers.
How did this happen? Sorry, did I miss
literally
something
just
pivotal?
was sort of somebody was like, "Have you ever thought about working in an office, getting out of the restaurant industry?"
Right.
And I was like, "Why don't I give it a shot?"
Okay.
Went in to go and meet a director. He didn't even tell me it was an interview. I went in like flip flops and shorts. And was just like, hey, what's up? And he was like, so tell me about you. And I'm like, well.
That lax Canadian government. For all the Americans listening, that's what it's like here.
Honestly.
Flip flops and shorts.
But I had no clue.
Maple syrup and shit.
Didn't even do my hair. Didn't put my face on. Nothing. Just walked in and was like, hey, what's up? He's like, so tell me about you. And I'm like, it's so hot outside. I hate summertime. And I'm like, anyways, don't mind my shine. Worked in the restaurants, kind of like did that. Did school, failed a lot, but no problem. It's not a big deal. I'm like, why am I here? And then he was just like, oh, so I've got this opening. And I'm like, oh, well, thanks for the opportunity because that's crap. And then it calls me the next week and was like, can you start on the 17th?
See, they probably were like, wow, this guy has dealt with failure and just keeps, people sometimes just want a hard worker. You don't find that a lot these days.
I definitely did not take the straight and narrow path, right? Like it was windy and jagged. You know what I mean?
Okay, so you're there.
Anyways, so I'm there now, and then his executive assistant like leaves, and then he's like, I need someone to fill the spot. Do you want it? And I'd been there like 2-3 years, and I was like, I guess I can try. Start doing that.
And so did you know that there was any stats involved in the job?
No, I had no clue.
Okay, this is interesting.
So I when he told it to me, it was literally just, I need you to
Do you think you wouldn't have taken it if you had known?
Probably.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. I think I would have hesitated.
I feel like this is a pivotal moment because I just want to throw in as an example of like thank God you didn't know, because it is very possible that like math trauma you'd experienced would have prevented you from taking this risk. Right? Like it really can close these major doors for you. Okay, so but anyways, you're in there.
I honest to God, I wouldn't have done it.
Like
if
that's
I had known.
so important.
Like he didn't present it that way. He just presented it as it was a lot of like documentations and writing things on his behalf and talking to stakeholders and clients and stuff like that. But like there was no mention of, I also need you to do math.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because I honestly would have been like, no, I'm not good at math. Don't give it to me. Right. Ended up doing it, started doing all these numbers. Then they said, you're really good at this. Can you also do numbers for other offices? So then I start doing it for other offices now.
So what numbers are you doing?
Sometimes it's basic stuff. It's a lot of projections.
So when you saw the first set of numbers you had to do, did you feel that anxiety or did you just...
Oh, yeah. It was terrified all over again.
Okay.
But it was different because, again, I had someone who said, you know what, you're more than capable of doing this.
Right.
Right? I had really great bosses. So I had 2 directors over the course of my life so far. And phenomenal, supportive people who were very much of the mindset that you are capable, and if it takes you a little bit of extra time to figure it out, no problem. We'll make it work.
Oh my God. And imagine if that was the attitude in school.
Yeah.
Right? It never is.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, go on.
So a lot of the times they would say to me, like, how long do you think you would need to do this?
Right.
And I would say 3 weeks. Well, let's give you 4, just in case.
Right.
And then you would sit down and they would set these meetings to sort of be like, where are you at with this? The funny part, though, was that neither of my directors thought that they were good in math either.
What?
So they sort
Really?
of passed it off to be like, well, we can't do it, so would you mind giving it a shot?
Oh my God. Okay, so you're there. Your bosses don't like math. They pass it on to you, but they believe in you.
That's the whole thing, right?
That's the whole thing.
So we start doing it, and then I ended up getting another job. I sort of got promoted. I moved up into another job where literally the majority of it was based on stats. It was based on not only running stats, but like building reports that run stats for people.
Right.
Then I have to now explain the stats to management, executive committees, all this kind of stuff, and then also teach them how to run their own stats.
Oh my God.
Then now they have their own staff, like admin staff, that they want to run the stats. So now I have to sit down and train those people on how to run the stats.
So you're basically a math teacher.
But it's psychotic though, because in the back of my mind, I'm like, how am I even, like, if they knew my history,
right?
Nobody should trust
knew?
me. No, I never told anybody about like failing university and all these kinds of things. And everybody just sort of says to me, you're really good at this. And I'm like, please don't say that. Because
so you're like experiencing imposter syndrome, like so hardcore. This is like basically the whole episode is imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like that idea of like, you are good at it. You're proving you're good at it, yet you're just so scared you're going to be exposed as the fraud that you believe you are. This is literally the definition of it.
And that's the whole thing, right? We're like, it's like self-sabotage.
Right.
Where somebody tells me, you're actually pretty good at this. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, no, you're not though.
Right.
You're just winging it. Like you always did in school.
That is literally the definition.
Right.
That's the definition. Lady Gaga, there's a quote that Lady Gaga has that I'm obsessed with. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but she basically basically says something like, there are so many days when I still feel like the loser kid in high school, and I just have to get up and look in the mirror and be like, you're a fucking rock star, you're Lady Gaga, get out there and be what your fans need you to be.
Yeah.
And it always makes me feel better because I'm like, if Lady Gaga feels that way,
absolutely,
like, fuck.
Right? I feel like Whitney felt the same way.
They all, oh, fuck, R.I.p.
But, oh, yeah. Oh, for a second I was like, she's not dead, but then
Whitney?
She is. Okay, it's fine. I cried that time. I cried for 3 days. I asked my boss if I could have a bereavement day when she passed away. He said no.
Okay, anyways, yes.
So that's sort of like where I am now. Where I'm now in this position where like math is like a big focal point of my job.
Right.
And I'm no longer petrified of it. I actually kind of look forward to it.
So how did it, like, I really want to dig more into, like, how did this happen? Did you just have someone believed in you, so you started doing a little more? Tell me about that time you stayed up until midnight and your boss, like, was like, okay, yo, what the fuck's going on?
So we had some stats that I had to go out. Right. And I couldn't figure it out for the life of me. And I was petrified that if I didn't finish it and didn't do it properly, I was going to get fired. Basically. Right. So I stayed up all night, midnight, that kind of stuff. Finished it. But then my boss the next day was like, you look exhausted. I was like, first of all, good morning. Thank you. Second, I am exhausted because I've been up all night trying to figure this crap out. And he was like, what is wrong with you? He goes, why would you do that? And I was like, I was petrified. You're going to fire me if I don't do it. Like, just all of these things. And he was like, honest to God, it's not that serious. Next time, just talk to me. And it was one of those moments where I was just like, oh, I can actually talk to people. And they're not going to judge me or berate me or tell me that I'm useless. They're actually going to probably try and help me. Mm-hmm. So it was this sort of weird moment where I was like, why do you beat yourself up but nobody else does?
So this is so interesting because listening to your story, you do come from a history of, like, basically being taught that if you ask for help, it not only means you're stupid, but you will not be heard, right? Like that idea of you putting your hand up in class and, like, your teacher being like, yep, cool, no one has questions, or like... But it's so ironic because that same teacher is like, well, you should come to me if you need help, yet isn't really hearing or seeing you. So you're basically being taught, and I think a lot of kids are taught that math is a solo sport. This is what you said, and I kind of like how you said that, this idea that, like, and also if you look at the stereotype of, like, the person who's smart at math, they are always figuring it out on their own, right? Mm-hmm. It's like this genius that's like, they've got it. They don't need anyone else to help them. It's not a social idea. Like, it's not a team sport. And that doesn't work for very many people, right? And that's why we see so many people pushed out of math or thinking they're not, and I'm using quotations, math people, because they don't operate that way. So this experience you have, this, like, eye-opening experience of being like, oh my God, I can ask for help, and in return I can receive help and I can get better, actually really changes things for you.
Absolutely. You know, it's really funny too, you talk about math people. So I was valedictorian in high school, right? In my last year. I was student council president and I was valedictorian the same year, right? Okay. And the girl who got 98% in calculus, everybody was like, she's going to get it. It's fine. No problem, right? Somehow I managed to win this thing. No clue. It must have been a popularity contest. I don't know what happened. But anyways, I was valedictorian.
Based on your facial structure.
One of the other girls, right, because I was pretty. One of the other girls.
Still are, Miguel.
Thank you. One of the other girls in the school who was also brilliant in math came up to me and said, it's really unfortunate the person who deserved it didn't win.
Based on what? Her math score?
Based on her math scores.
You know what? This actually leads me to a whole other thing. How is it that math is always the thing that validates people? Do you notice this? Like, it's like people, like, will paint a beautiful painting or, like, write an amazing essay, and you very rarely are like, they're so brilliant, right? Someone gets, like, a great math score and all of a sudden they're the smartest person in the room. Like, absolutely. Why does her 98 make her the one who should be valedictorian? Like, what's that reason?
I couldn't even tell you. It was so weird too, because it didn't really matter what else she did in school. Yeah,
because I was going to say the criteria for valedictorian, like, how can it be based on your math score?
Yeah, that was it. But it was just because she did so good in math, and that was sort of the peak. That was the top of the mountain. If you could do well in calculus, algebra and geometry, finite, all those things, you were a genius, you were brilliant. Why is that? You were going to be successful.
But what is the reason? Like, do you have any ideas why in your mind?
The funny part is, though, I feel like a lot of people feel like if you're good in math, that automatically means you're going to be successful.
Why?
And I can't tell you. Honest to God, I cannot tell you.
You don't have any theory.
I have no theories whatsoever.
I'm obsessed with this.
But it's something that's ingrained in us. I know. That if you're good in math, you're brilliant, and you automatically are going to be CEO of Google one day, and that's the end of it.
Which is, like, so funny to me because I know so many people that are great at math that lack, like, so many skills you would need to be in charge of anything.
Yeah.
Right?
but you automatically give them a pass because they're brilliant in math.
But why?
Ask me again. Maybe I'll come up with an answer.
Right, like I'm like literally okay. Fine, if anyone's listening to this and you have an idea of why, like let us know.
Seriously, but it's something that's just sort of like set in society. I mean, the other thing that's set in society is the people that are good at math. That's like I was raised, especially in high school, that a very specific culture, a certain group of people. I don't want to say it.
That's okay.
Asian people. That's what I was told.
I didn't even prompt you to say it. I didn't even say anything.
In school, that's what we were told.
Right.
The Asian students were brilliant in math. They wouldn't help you, but they were brilliant in math.
Right.
They grouped together to help each other, but never would help you. And the reason why is because the rest of the student population would shun them in everything else. But when you needed math help, you ran to them.
Well,
right?
What's so interesting is I've met actually a few like Asian people who have listened to the podcast and have such a different experience with it because for them it's so isolating because they are supposed to be so good at math, so like due to the stereotype. And if they're not, it's a whole other like crazy math trauma for them to be like letting down their people. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's interesting how harmful that stereotype can be.
It's so much
like whether
pressure.
You're in the group or outside of it. Yeah, completely. Yeah. But so yes, there is this idea. So again, like we are really talking about all these stereotypes around math. And one of the big ones being that it is something that like you're supposed to be doing on your own. So now, like, let's just like circle back to like, you're in your job now, you're now seeing your own, like you're in charge of summer students and you're kind of in charge of changing the narrative for them. What are you seeing?
So the thing with the students that come, so we get a set of summer students often that come in, not just summer, but like co-op kids in general. Mm-hmm. And a lot of them will come in and are terrified of any type of math that you put in front of them. I've had a lot of summer students that have come in and I've said, look, I need help with some stats if you don't mind. And they just sort of stare at me like, oh, no, I'm not. Don't give me math. Just give me paper. I'll push paper and that kind of stuff. And they're just afraid to get it wrong. And I've always felt that, especially like my nephew is 10 years old now. And when I help him with math now, right? And whenever I help him and he gets something wrong, he gets really upset.
Right.
He gets really frustrated. And I see the same thing in a lot of the students that come in, is that maybe not even math, but just in general, when they get something wrong, they really beat themselves up on it. As if there's this insane amount of pressure to be perfect all the time.
Which you experience yourself.
Yeah. So a lot of the times we'll take a break. So we'll completely remove ourselves from the office and just be like, come on, we're going to get coffee, sit down, relax, chill, take a break. It's not that serious. If you don't get it right, the world's not going to end. Give it a minute. You're not an idiot. So let's go back and give it a shot, right?
Do you find this works?
Yeah. A lot of the times
you're like a little math therapist yourself, Miguel. Oh my God.
It's so frightening.
You're infiltrating the government for me before I can get to them.
But it's one of those things where like I see a lot of myself in them.
Yeah.
In just sort of,
which is the most important characteristic of a teacher, to be honest.
And you're not coming at them from a lot. Like I'm 38 years old now, right? But I don't feel like a big adult.
Right.
I feel like I'm still really
None of us
young.
do.
None of us do, right?
It's 2020.
But I feel like when I was 18, 19, if an adult came at me with something, it was in a very, I'm not saying all
like
adults, this is just my experience.
Yeah.
Very condescending, very judgmental, right? So I don't want to come at these students like that. I don't want to come at them with the attitude of, well, what do you went to school, you should have known this already, right? It's almost to say to them, look, I didn't figure out math until I was 26. Right? So if you're 20 and you don't get it yet, give yourself a break. You've got time. There's no timeline on how long it takes you to figure out math. You know, it's a lifelong journey.
Love this. Oh
you're
my God.
Learning.
Put that
you're
on
learning the whole
fucking
time.
Bumper sticker,
Do you know what I mean? Like,
well, I was going to say, so we have at the Math Guru, every Christmas I do the 12 days of TMG,
oh my God.
which is like I post a math riddle every day. And I will say, you are the most enthusiastic participant we have.
Okay, let me tell you a story about that real quick.
Oh, yeah.
So 2 years ago, I started to follow them, right? And it was so interesting for myself through my journey of figuring out all my, like who I am and all that kind of stuff, right? Just being able to do these little puzzles and then send them to you and then have you write back and say, you got it. And then I would get to sit there and be like, oh my God, I figured this out. Now I'm going to try the second one. And then I would do the second one and I would get the second one right and the third one right. And then I would get to a place where I got it wrong. And instead of being upset and being like, crap, I'm an idiot, whatever, I would say, wait a second, can you walk me through this? Explain this to me.
Yes, it's true.
Right?
You absolutely...
Tell me how I did this wrong.
You've sent me videos, quite aggressive, heated videos of you and your friends discussing these riddles over the dinner table.
It's at dinner, it's at work, it's in the lunchrooms where I pull my phone out and I'm like, guys, there's 7 rabbits, and then one rabbit has 12 rabbits, and now there's a leprechaun, and he's wearing a green hat. What is X, right?
It's definitely never. They're first of all Christmas themed, so you're going to like Easter and like St. Patty's
Whatever.
Day.
Santa Claus has 6 wives. You know, how many of them?
Wow.
Okay,
Yeah, actually being Polly is super in right now, so I can see that being next year's riddle.
Oh my God. Okay, do it.
Am I wrong?
So, but it's one of those things where like these little puzzles are phenomenal in terms of boosting my own confidence.
I love it.
In terms of math. And it feels so trivial, right? It's a riddle about elves and stockings, right? And you sit there and you're like...
That's more on theme.
Right. But you sit there and you're like, anyone could figure this out. But there are actually people, grown adults, who would look at that and say, I have no idea how to do this.
Well, can I tell you what's so crazy? So obviously we tutor hundreds of students here, all of who profess to hate word problems. Like that's the thing, they hate word problems. Yet when these riddles come out, I am getting 100 DMs a day from students who are so excited to solve these word problems. And it's so, I love being able to point out to them, like, when you don't have the pressure of like perfection or like getting it right on your test, we all actually love math. We love being curious. We love looking at a problem, having no clue how to solve it, and being like, what can I come up with? I can't wait to do it. Is a social thing.
Yeah.
People are discussing it with their friends, and it makes me so happy, but also so sad because that's not what they're learning at school. No. They're learning that it is a solo sport and that like they have to do it in this very particular way. So instead of letting their minds be like, wow, like, okay, Santa has 6 wives. Like, how is this playing out? And how am I going to figure out how many
children he knows the names of?
Exactly. Took the words right out of the fucking Rudolph's mouth.
Do you know what's funny though? There's so many times like in my office where I will gather people and we will sit down all together and try and figure out your puzzles.
Oh my God, I love this.
And it's so funny because it's not like a competition. It's not anything aggressive. It's not, you basically sit there and you're like, I got 7. And you're like, no, well, I got 9. Well, how did you get 9?
Yes,
and then you talk about it and you're like, oh my God, I didn't even think about that.
Right.
But it's friendly, it's social, it's this beautiful atmosphere of learning together. And I never got that at school.
Yeah, and most kids don't.
I felt like I was trapped, I was handcuffed, I was in a box, and either I figured it out and I didn't. And if I didn't, I was in the box. And if I could figure it out, I was outside the box and I could go further in life. But if I was trapped in this box, what I was going to do in life was limited.
And that just sounds so isolating.
And it's terrible. It's really bad. So, I mean...
I love it. Like, this literally is giving me goosebumps, and this makes me so happy because this is such a full circle moment for me of being like, this is literally why I started the Math Guru, to show people that math can be social, that it can be community-based, that it can be collaborative, that it's not just about competing with your peers, it's not just about getting the right answer. It really is about like rediscovering the joy of learning. And I think about a little kid when, people say this all the time, like mathematicians and math researchers, kids are born curious. You are born wanting to solve problems. And at some point, that is stripped away from you. Yeah. And it usually is through the education system. Like, not to be like hating so hard on the education system, but we unteach that. We teach kids that like, you shouldn't be curious because that can be risky and dangerous. And instead you should focus on doing the safe thing to get those marks. Yeah. And it's so sad because, like you said, like, look at you now as a grown adult, loving inquisition and learning and curiosity and collaborating with your peers, right?
And the other thing, just to add on top of that, is that there's no age limit for it. There's no age for it, right? Exactly. You can do this in your 30s, in your 40s, in your 50s. It doesn't make a difference. You had someone on your podcast last season that I forget her name.
Yvonne, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, she's decided on her bucket list of things to do before she dies is to learn math all the way to calculus.
There you go.
I think she might have gotten worse than you, actually. You guys should have a little talk.
Oh, maybe one day.
Okay, we need to wrap up, even though I never want to wrap up.
I know.
What would you say to someone who doesn't think they're a math person?
Okay. So I feel...
you changed your posture.
As I straightened up, right?
Okay.
I feel like I would be talking to myself, first of all.
Okay.
So it's so funny because when I listen to your podcast and you ask everyone these questions, it almost feels like everyone's talking to a younger version of themselves.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's true.
So I feel like I would be talking to myself at 17, right? So first things first always is relax. Take a breath, take a minute, chill out. Because I feel like it can be very overwhelming when you start to tell yourself you're not good at something. Then it's a lot of reminding yourself that you're capable of things, right? And that goes back to if you're good in sports, if you're good in biology, if you do well in these things, remind yourself of those things, right? At one point we couldn't speak, at one point we couldn't walk, at one point we could do all these things, right?
Oh my God, yes.
So if you are capable of doing these things, learning how to drive a car, figure out your cell phone, do all this, program your television, you're more than capable of doing this. The third, resources. Find yourself resources. Talk to your teachers, talk to your parents, find other students that perhaps are at the same level as you and trying to figure it out as well, right? When I was growing up, especially in high school, your only resource was your guidance counselor. That's all they would tell you, right? It was go talk to your guidance counselor, they'll figure it out. You would go to your guidance counselor and they would say, well, maybe just read the textbook again.
Or you know what they would say is you need calculus to get into university, which is false.
Those things. Exactly,
that still
right?
happens, yes.
So it's one of those things where like there's so many more resources, like your book, which I got for my nephew.
Oh,
and
thank you.
He lives for it.
We'll put that in the show notes, guys.
Math
don't worry.
hacks, right? But it's like little things like that. There's all these resources out there right now that you can Google it. That's kind of how I figured out a lot of things in my job, where somebody would say, I need you to do a projection of this number. And I'm like, okay, what's a projection? So I'm like, dear Google, what's a projection? How do I find a projection? But now I can sit there and read it and learn it. And I'm like, this makes complete sense to me, right? And then the last thing, always, what I tell my nephew, what I like to tell a lot of people that are around me now is like, be your own hype person. Hype yourself up.
Oh, I love this.
Right? Remind yourself on a daily basis, you're capable, you're worthy, you can do all these things. It might not be easy.
Do you do that?
All the time I have to now. All the time.
Really? Do you have like any set things that you say? Like do you have like sticky notes on your mirror?
Not so much on my mirror, but I have a notebook that I keep next to my bed.
Okay.
Because I started journaling.
Oh my God, love it.
And on the very first page, I have just reminders, and I write every day that I'm proud of something that I've done, I write it down on that first page.
Oh my God,
And then I wake up in the morning and I read all the things that I'm proud of.
Do you?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a great routine.
Yeah.
So I've set reminders on my phone to like pop up every hour.
Yeah.
Like saying those things.
Yeah.
Or like saying my manifestations or saying like my affirmations or whatever.
And you have to.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the times you're not going to find somebody else that's going to hype you up the way that you can hype up yourself.
Yeah, totally.
And sometimes it's literally just taking a minute, going into a room, closing a door, and just saying to yourself, I'm good. I got this. I can do this. It's great. No problem. Calm down. Breathe deep. Try it again. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's one of those things.
Advice.
So that's that.
I love it. I fucking love it. Okay, last question. If there's one thing you could change about the way math is taught in schools, what would it be? I love that you're like fixing your hair for this question.
I just, I wrote down more than one.
Tell me all of them. Tell me all of them. No,
okay.
tell them all to me.
So I think the biggest thing that I would want right now is I noticed that the last time that we went through changing the curriculum in the school, right? There were a lot of people that I saw on TV that were 35 years in teaching and this and this and this and professor of this and all these types of things. And I didn't see any students.
Right? Oh my God. Sorry. Okay, I'm backing away from the mic as I'm yelling this, but this is one of my biggest fucking pet peeves. I'm always like, has anyone talked to the actual students? And like, as someone who actually works in stats in the government, why aren't we using actual like empirical evidence or actual research-based evidence to make changes?
But the funny thing is too, is that we ask professionals in other fields, and we ask, like, when we're trying to, cure a virus or whatever, you go and you get biologists, you go and get all these people. With mathematicians, you don't actually ask the people who do it, right? Or with math, you basically run out and you get somebody who maybe was in school 40 years ago.
And yeah, we're never asking the actual kids who have to sit in the classroom what the issue is.
Get the students around a table and talk to them.
Absolutely.
Figure it out. And not even in like this professional setting or whatever. Just sit down with some kids.
Well, and often
you know
too,
what I mean?
what I think is interesting is we're starting, but like just starting to hear from universities who are saying, hey, listen, you're sending us all these students and they don't have the skills that they need for these programs. Like there's something wrong. And it's like, there's something wrong with the pipeline where like no one's communicating. We're teaching some random math in elementary school. They get to high school and the high school teachers are like, I don't know what's happening, but no one in my class knows anything. Then they get to university and the university professors, I've actually heard that this is why a lot of bell curving has started to happen is because university programs are like, well, we kind of have a bit of an issue here. So we're either going to fail everyone or we need to like change our standards, which is pretty fucked up. Okay, we're getting really off topic. Okay, back to you.
What I was going to say is just to lead into that as well.
Back to you, Miguel.
Is I've always felt that we need to move away from just memorizing things. So don't just memorize an equation or don't just memorize bed mass. Like use actual examples of it, right? Like you need to teach the kids, this is why you need to know these things. And do it like practical examples. Like, someone teach me how to do my taxes. I wish someone had taught me how to do my taxes when I was 18.
I still don't
do you know what I
know how to do
mean?
my taxes.
Finances, all of those kinds of things.
Yeah.
And the last thing, honestly, is we need new resources and materials.
Totally.
I can't breathe when I look at my nephew's textbook.
It's disgusting.
And I'm like, why was this written in 1989?
I know.
This doesn't make any sense.
It's
why
gross.
is the pages falling off? And why is one page white and one page brown? Like, why can't we, right? Like, why can't we give these kids new things? I feel like it's
for diversity reasons, maybe.
so he feels included. I feel like we need to redo all of it. Like, just brand new things.
I agree.
Invest in it.
Yeah. Miguel, it was a fucking treat having you here today, I'll say.
Thanks for having me. This was a lot of fun.
This was so much fun. Can't wait to do it again. And let's go be our best selves today.
Every day.
Are you guys still laughing? Because I legit am. There are so many mic drops in this episode, but I think the biggest takeaway to me is that asking for help and offering help can be life-changing for everyone involved. And that's not just a math lesson, it's a life lesson. So remember that when you go out into your world today, that being a mentor can make a crazy, amazing difference in someone's life. And whether you know it or not, you are a mentor. We all are. We're all teachers. We all have the power to teach someone something. And that is a beautiful thing. So now that we're all crying and channeling our inner teachers, mentors, and superheroes in general, I'm just going to take a moment to remind you that you can find everything we talked about with Miguel on our show notes at themathguru.ca/matththerapy. Remember to follow us on all social media at The Math Guru. And of course, Math Therapy is hosted by me, Vanessa Vicaria, produced by Sabina Wex, and edited by David Kochberg. Our theme song is Waves by my band Goodnight Sunrise. And guys, finally, if you know someone who needs math therapy or just needs to hear someone getting math therapy, please share this podcast and write a review on whatever podcast app you use. Those two things make a huge difference. I am so determined to change the way we look at math ability in this world, and I need your help. So spread the word. That's all for this week. Stay tuned for our next episode out next Thursday.